again this afternoon with our Whispering Hope weather update. And here to bring our weather update is none other than meteorologist, Mr. Lenard Josiah. Mr. Lenard Josiah, what's happening? Good afternoon. In our neck of the wood, the weather has changed. The atmosphere has changed.
Good afternoon, my brother. Good afternoon to our listening and viewing public, wherever you are this afternoon. Definitely, we are here to bring you another edition of Whispering Hope's weather update, and we are here to give you the information not only as it comes to hand, but the information coming from a trusted weather source. And we continue to monitor the tropics this afternoon. And you're asking the question, why is it that we're having some of the showers that we have had during the course of the day? A tropical wave moved on by last night, but the instability still lingers within the atmosphere. So with the type of heating and the availability of some moisture, that has triggered not only some showers, but some moderate passing showers here and there. Some deeper clouds are on the outside. I'm looking at them right now, and that is indicative of what we call the afternoon instability. And that's all what it is. But so whether or not you are trying to link it to to what I'm just about to say, let's not link it. That particular system remains sufficiently well to the east at this afternoon, which I will speak to you about. Well, my brother, yesterday I spoke to you about potential tropical cyclone number 7. It's now a tropical depression number 7 as of this afternoon. So we are now officially looking at a tropical cyclone. Now, this particular tropical cyclone will be the main weather feature that will be governing weather conditions through the Leeward Islands, over the Leeward Islands and the British Virgin Islands during the next 48 hours, albeit I should say throughout the weekend. And I know for those individuals who are going to church tomorrow or wanted to go to church tomorrow, which we will speak about in just a few minutes, we will really want for you to pay very close attention to it. So let me get straight to it, and let's go straight on to our bulletin. As of 5 p.m. this afternoon, the center of now tropical depression number 7 was located near latitude 15.4 degrees north and 51.8 degrees west. That is just about 675 miles east of the Leeward Islands. Maximum sustained winds are now near 35 miles per hour. And get this, it's moving towards the west, or 275 degrees at 22 miles per hour rather quickly. Minimum central pressure is 1,010 millibars. Well, as of this advisory, we're looking at tropical storm watch now has been issued for the United States Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. The government of Antigua and Barbuda has issued a tropical storm watch for Anguilla and the British Virgin Islands. For the government of France, you too have been issued a tropical storm watch for St. Martin and St. Bartholomew, while the government of St. Martin, we are looking at all those watches or warnings in place. For those of us who are in Antigua and Barbuda, you too are governed right now by a tropical storm watch. Given the fact that these things are moving rather quickly, it would not at all be surprising to hear that going on into tonight or even into tomorrow morning, that Antigua and Barbuda and the portions of the Leeward Islands will be under a tropical storm warning. It would not at all be surprising to me to hear that. So I'm asking the folks of Antigua and Barbuda, mark well that we are under a tropical storm watch. And based upon the forward motion and the future track of this particular system, it would not at all be surprising if a tropical storm warning would be issued for Antigua and Barbuda. Elsewhere in the Leeward Islands, as well as the Dominican Republic, should monitor closely the progress of this system. I am calling on our brothers and sisters here in Antigua and Barbuda to monitor this particular system rather closely. And here is the reason why. Because you see, the path of this particular system, here is Antigua and Barbuda. Let me see if I can get that up rather quickly. Let me see if I can get that up. Let me see if I can share the screen so you can see what is actually being said. Now, so here is Antigua and Barbuda. Let me annotate that for you so that you could see exactly where Antigua and Barbuda, we are located right in this spot right here. And as you could see, the center of tropical depression number 7 is forecast to take a track just basically outside or just south of Antigua. I must hasten to say, however, we are not necessarily looking at a line. And one of the things that I must bring to your attention is this cone of uncertainty right inside here and right down here. The center of this particular feature can be anywhere in this particular area within the next 24 hours, meaning it could actually pass a little north of Antigua and Barbuda. That alone has a particular significance to it. If it passes to the south, it also has some significance. Why am I saying this? It's rather important for me to stress and to show you what I'm talking about. For the next 24 hours, when it is passing it at its closest to Antigua, right at this point here, which is 17.0 degrees north and 61.9 degrees west, we are looking at being in the northern quadrant of the storm. And the northern quadrant of the storm, where 34 knot winds exist, we are looking at winds out at just about 40 miles to the northeast and 40 miles to the northwest. There is nothing, according to the National Hurricane Center, those winds are not existent in the southern quadrant. So this particular system comes with it with a measure of uncertainty depending on where it will go. Meaning, if it actually tracks to the north of the area, which is forecast, or south of Antigua and Barbuda, areas to the north of the center will be greatest impacted by the winds and the heavy rains. Okay, that is significant. If it passes to the north of Antigua and Barbuda with no winds to the south, we will be in good stead. All we'll get is just the good old showers, and while the wind impacts perched over the waters. So this particular system comes with a range of possibilities that the residents of our Twin Island state and the rest of the Leeward Islands and the British Virgin Islands should be very watchful for. As it stands right now, we are focusing on a path that will bring the system to the south of Antigua and Barbuda and the rest of the Leeward Islands, making our presence more so in the northern quadrant. Hence the reason why, if this track holds true, then we will be in the midst of 40 miles an hour winds, gusting higher to 60 mile an hour winds. So you're going to be waking up to a Sunday morning of a bother with this particular system right over us here in our Twin Island state, and bringing with it the necessary impacts. What should we be hoping for? We should be hoping that it passes to the north, and hence the reason why all those impacts will remain over waters. If it passes to the south, then we will be greatest impacted by the winds. Here is another major point that I will want to stress out for us. Currently, as of 5 p.m. this afternoon, it's located at this particular location. In the next 24 to 48 hours, it's forecast to become a tropical storm. As it passes through Antigua and Barbuda, we are focusing on winds in the region of 45 miles per hour. But let's take a look at a particular scenario. The National Hurricane Center and from the meteorology, it suggests that this particular feature will be under less wind shear. So while we are expecting winds in the region of 45 miles per hour as it passes right over us, going further towards the west, it is going to be in favorable weather conditions with warm sea surface temperatures, light winds, some availability of moisture. So residents of our Twin Island state should be prepared if this particular system not only strengthens, but strengthens even further than we anticipate. So these are some of the dynamics that are actually taking place with it right now, that we are monitoring it very, very closely. Already you're looking at the satellite photograph. It gets darker because I'm looking at the visual satellite, and you're seeing that a central dense overcast is now developing, which is indicative that it's feeling less shear. That is significant, because if these clouds continue to grow, then we are in the possibility that this system can even strengthen even further than we anticipated. It's all eyes on this particular system. What will it do? But residents of our Twin Island state should be very mindful that we are currently under a tropical storm watch, which could be upgraded to a tropical storm warning within the next 12 to 24 hours. My brother?
So it looks like we're in it, whether we want it or not. And it looks like we won't know how close we are to receiving it until tomorrow evening.
Well, tomorrow evening will be the time that it will pass by. I should let you know this, that we are getting more confident in our track modeling. Our track modeling is normally on point. The National Hurricane Center and our meteorology is normally on point, that it can be someplace just south of Antigua or just slightly north of Barbados, anywhere in that region. However, it's because of the dynamics of the system right now that makes it somewhat difficult. We can receive winds or no winds, just by virtue of the type of system that it is right now. But I should point out to you that within the next couple of hours is going to be extremely critical. So residents should be monitoring this system very closely and not be alarmed if there is further strengthening than anticipated. We are looking at an arrival time, let's say, the soonest arrival time sometime Saturday evening, okay, based upon the forward motion that it is moving rather quickly right now at 22 miles an hour. If it slows down further, then we're looking at a later arrival time, maybe overnight Saturday into Sunday, at which point your weekend looks pretty gloomy.
Wow, wow, wow. So what are your words of advice to those of us in our neck of the woods? Final words of advice.
Well, the final words of advice for us here in Antigua and Barbuda and the rest of the Leeward Islands, we have been always speaking to you about the importance of being ready for when these systems show up at our doorsteps. Then you can respond and not necessarily respond with fright. As it stands right now, I want our residents to be assured that we're on top of the situation and we're going to be bringing you all the information that possibly comes to hand. It looks, though, that we should be able to have church tomorrow morning. I will be monitoring this very closely, my brother. We should be able to have church in the morning tomorrow. However, during the course of the afternoon, don't be surprised that we will see some of those rain banks come on in. If the pace continues as it is, then we're looking at this thing being in the area Saturday night. And we are looking at it being in the area for at least 6 hours if it continues on that clip, 6 to 12 hours. So as fast as it comes, it fast as it goes because of the fast clip. If it slows down in accordance to what some of our modelings are saying, and then we can have the impacts lingering over our Twin Island state. The soonest arrival time, which I was just speaking to you about, we're looking at the soonest arrival time for us here in Antigua, just about 8 p.m. tomorrow night. If that's the soonest arrival time that we're looking at. So you have at least tomorrow during the course of the day to go to church and get yourself be prepared for the evening. If it slows down just a bit, we're looking at a later arrival time. So there's much for us to pay attention to in the next couple of hours. What will this system be is going to be highly dependent on how it interacts with its environment. Right now, the environment supports strengthening.
Okay, and you know, I wanted to ask you a question about church, so you preempted me and you saw that I would probably ask. So the next question is, our porous roadways, will that anticipated rain, the projected rainfall for during this passing tropical system, impact our roadways significantly, especially in the southern area?
Yes, it will, depending on the amount of rain that we have in the time that the rain falls. That we speak about as what we call our rain rate. Okay, now the projected expectation for rain is someplace in the region of up to 6 inches. All right, and the 6 inches is significant rainfall. Now, I do not necessarily believe that we will see the 6 inches because it is moving at a fast clip. But we suffice it to say, nonetheless, we can have some significant rainfall in the region up to about 3 inches, an isolated amount up to 6 inches. But residents must be ensured that we are looking more so for rain out of this system rather than the wind. Now, it's not to say that we are not going to get the wind. We do believe that the minimal storm conditions in which we are forecasting, that we can deal with the wind. So we're not looking at major impacts or and let's say a situation where houses are going to be totally demolished, etc. 40 miles an hour winds, we should be able to manage that. But at the same time, if it does strengthen any further, and I'm stressing that during its passage and with the light shear and the warm waters, this thing can strengthen more than it is projected So residents of our Twin Islands state, while it is true that we are expecting winds in the region of 40 to 50 miles an hour, you should also be prepared that it can strengthen further if the shear and the warm waters add to it. And we look at that, we can look down in the barrel of our storm that is generally in the region of 60 miles an hour, gusting to hurricane strength. All of that can change, but we are asking residents to be on top of this situation. The rains can certainly be an issue that can create flooding in low-lying areas. So residents of our Twin Island states and our brothers and sisters should be ensured that when it comes to the point tomorrow afternoon, you should at least be in a safe location. So when these rains begin to fall, you are not exposed and you're not vulnerable with you being on the outside. We are looking for potentially heavy rainfall that can certainly produce flooding. You asked about the Big Creek area, the Small Creek, and the Little Creek, and areas that are normally flooded will be flooded if this rain does materialize. So residents of our Twin Island state should be very mindful of that.
Okay, this is our special edition of Whispering Hope Weather Update. We want to thank you for making this sacrifice on this Friday afternoon, Mr. Josiah. Another day we usually do a weather update because of the expected tropical system. We have this, and if needs be, on the eve of the storm, we will be back. God bless you. Have a pleasant Sabbath. And Brother Josiah, to you and your family, pleasant Sabbath when it comes around.
And pleasant Sabbath to you, my brother. God bless and have a great evening. I'm sure that you will give me a signal if you want us to come back sometime during the day tomorrow, at least to keep our brethren abreast, etc., as to what is really happening. If that so be the case, I'm just ready. Just give me a call and I'll be here to offer the information as it comes to hand.
Yes, my brother. Thank you. God bless.